Trigonometric functions with periodic phenomena. So that's quite a mouthful, but it's actually not too bad. Okay, so this practice test question asks us which of the following graphs best represents f of x equals 3 sine of 4x plus 2. Okay, so this is an important skill because I want you to be able to match a graph to a trig function. Which graph of these four matches this trig function? So when you look at a trig function, notice it's not a parent function, right? The parent function would be, let me bring it up. Okay, the parent function would be, let me take that away. The parent function would be y equals sine of x, or f of x equals sine of x. And we know sine of x will look like that. Okay, so that's the parent function where the period is 2 pi and the midline is 0 and the high and low are 1 and negative 1. So what do these values do to the parent function, the 3, the 4, and the plus 2? Okay, so now it's important to refer to your notes and know how these things will change it. Okay, the a is what comes in front of the function. Okay, and the a is the amplitude. Okay, the amplitude is the vertical stretching, how much it's going to increase it by, how many times. So if it's 2, then the y value will go up to 2, okay, from the midline. Okay, so that's the amplitude. The period, right, is that b in front of the x. Okay, using this formula, you'll find what that period is. That means a period means one whole cycle. So for example, this is one cycle, and then it repeats, right? And then it repeats again and again. So that's the formula to use. The phase shift, that's the value of c. Okay, so c tells you the horizontal shift along the x-axis. Okay, the length of the shift is determined by c over b. Okay, so that's the formula to find out, and is known as the phase shift. Okay, and the endpoints of one interval or cycle can be determined by solving this equation. If you could solve that equation, you'll see, you'll find the endpoints. And the vertical shift is the d, and that's how much it's going to move above the midline. Okay, so with that information, we can actually come back to this question and be able to solve it. Okay, so this 3, right, that's the amplitude. That's it's going to be how much above the midline. So this one is only 2, so we know that's not correct. Okay, scroll down. Okay, we know that's 3. Okay, so that's good. So that looks like it's 3, right? Because from the midline, and now it's going up 3 units. So it's 3 times the parent function, which was 1. Okay, and so now the next piece of information we need is this one. Okay, so that's the 4. Okay, the 4 tells you the period. Okay, and the period will be with the equation, it will be 2 pi over the absolute value of b. So since b is 4, that's just going to be 2 pi over 4, which is the same as half pi. Okay, so half pi, meaning the period is going to be less than what is normal, which is 2 pi. Okay, so it's going to be compressed, and it's going to be only half of a quarter of that. So it'll tell you over here. So these are 3. So the parent function needs 2 pi to finish 1, and this only needs half pi. Okay, so this one, right? So just remember the parent function is that, okay, from 0 to 2 pi. So now We know this one. Let's look at this, right? That's done at pi over 2, right? So half pi is same as pi divided by 2. So that seems to answer that part of it. So far, that graph is what we need. The third one, and let's see, the plus 2, meaning it shifted, is phase shift up from the midline for the parent function, which is at y equals 0, and now it's shifted up to at y equals 2. So that graph fits all the criteria of this trig function. So that's how you would pick it. I hope this helps. Just make sure you use your notes. Thanks.